All right. Yeah, so that is the stuff about organizing. So I think we've pretty much covered all the stuff that I wanted to talk about. We talked about a lot today, so let's summarize that real quick. We started with ballot access laws. We pointed out that there's really not one election. There are 50 states plus DC elections every year in the US. And some of them are on different timelines. They have different requirements to be on the ballot. And it's kind of a mess. And that's part of our challenge as the Green Party to coordinate all that. That the Green Party is not one national party; it's 50 state parties plus the DC party, right? Because we have to coordinate and follow all of these ballot access laws. So they vary depending on the state, but there's some very basic outlines that usually in every state you have to collect signatures on a petition and pay some filing fee to be on the ballot. And the number of signatures and the amount of the filing fee vary wildly. Some states it's cheap with fewer signatures. Some states it's outrageous amounts of signatures and outrageous amounts of money. So we try our best to reach all of those different conditions. Oklahoma required $35,000, I think, just to be on the ballot. New York, as we were saying, now has to collect 45,000 signatures in like 8 weeks or 6 weeks or something. I forget exactly what it is. But the point is, and I've heard Howie Hawkins talk about this, that it's worse than the Putin standard, as he put it, that to run for office in Putin's Russia is actually less requirements than what New York now requires. So New York is now facing some of the worst ballot access laws in the world at this point. So that's part of our challenge. And while that is, of course, upsetting, and it shouldn't be that way, and as Greens, we should be demanding that we have fair, equitable ballot access laws that promote democracy instead of trying to keep people off the ballot, we should also take that as an opportunity of we really need to organize and build our parties anyway. And if we want to build a movement that's really going to shake up the system and change things, we need to build one strong enough to be able to do this anyway. So while it's not right, it's also something that we can organize and we can win and we can get around. And it just takes all of us getting involved, which is why I'm really excited and glad for folks that are watching this that you're interested in petitioning and volunteering with your state party, because that's how we overcome this. That's how we win. That's how we get system change. It's how we get Medicare for all and a Green New Deal and all the whole Green Party platform. All of us coming together and volunteering and doing our part in building this big movement. So we can overcome those ballot access challenges. And as a petitioner, you can go collect signatures at various places. We talked about doing either door-to-door door knocking and talking to your neighbors, as well as talking at picking a good event where you can go and collect signatures. We talked about some icebreakers and how you can approach people, especially by talking about fairness on the ballot. That's something that really resonates with a lot of people and can get their attention, and they'll usually sign your petition. We talked about the supplies you need. We talked about some common responses you might get from people and what you can do about it, how you can respond. And lastly, we talked about some tips for organizers, for folks who want to go above just volunteering to collect signatures, who want to really get involved with their state party and their the candidate campaign to be an organizer and to help turn out more volunteers to make sure that it's successful. So especially if you're willing to take that on, thank you again for helping build the movement, because as a grassroots party, we don't, like Harry said earlier, we don't take corporate money, right? We are not the Democrats and Republicans. We are built on grassroots volunteers and support and effort. And, our goal is to be a mass working class party that represents the people and not corporations and the wealthy and all that stuff, right? And so, again, there's a lot of challenges, but we can overcome them together by building a working class movement together. So, again, thank you so much for volunteering to either petition or to get more involved in organizing with your state party or campaign. So I hope that this presentation was a good 101 that gives you some good ideas about what to expect I of course encourage you to talk to your state party or your campaign about if there's any gaps to fill in. We covered state law, for example, very generically, and there can be specific rules in each state that I don't know about. I don't know all 51 state laws. So, you want to make sure that you check with them if there's any special things that you need to do in your state. But we covered most of the basics, so you're pretty you're in a good position now to get started. So reach out to your state party and campaign if you haven't, and get involved. And again, thank you for being involved in building this movement at this critical time in not just U.S. history, but also really world history, global history.